Greetings from Temecula, California. It is a brand new week, a Monday night across the fruited plain. We have so much to talk about. You have found the right place. This is the Ryder Report. I am Ryder Bullock, here to make the complex simple, the obvious undeniable, and the truth unmistakable. Now, lots to get to. Week 5 of the NFL slate is in the books, and what a weekend it was. You talk about drama, you talk about no undefeated teams, you talk about everything, and the headlines. And in this league, when you think something is going to happen, the opposite happens. And, NFL Hot Topics, it's Monday. Albert Lainer's with us. Always a pleasure. We'll talk with him. And then college football. Miami back at 2. Ohio State number 1. Who's 3 though? Because Penn State, Texas, they're out. Not ranked. We'll make sense of that as well. And then NBA season preview, 30 teams in 30 days, the Cavs and the Jazz. All kinds of stuff on the Ryder Report. It's Monday. It is October 6th. And this is the Ryder Report. So glad you're with us. I am Ryder Bullock. Let's get things started. Tick, tick, tick. Week 5 in the National Football League. London calling across the pond at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Carson Wentz says cheerio to the Browns lead. Marching the Vikings down the pitch with the clutch throws to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Purple Pride rallies late. Minnesota 21, Cleveland 17. Skol flies home happy. In Philly, 3 quarters quiet for the Broncos. Then, boom, Russell Wilson leads a mile-high miracle. Denver outscores the Eagles 18-0 in the 4th. Jalen Hurts, Hail Mary, denied. Broncos storm back 21-17. That's altitude, attitude. In the Meadowlands, Cowboys corral the Jets. Ryan Flournoy flying. Javonte Williams rumbling. Big D dominates both sides. Dallas 37, New York 22. And how about them Cowboys? Down in the Big Easy, Saints finally marching in. Kellen Moore gets his first W. Spencer Rattler throws deep, lightning. 87 yards to Rashad Shaheed. Defense holds the line, and New Orleans says hallelujah. Saints 26, Giants 14. At Lucas Oil, Indy turns on the nitro. Jonathan Taylor 3 trips to the house. Colts 40, Raiders 6. Vegas busts again. Charlotte, North Carolina, Miami up 17-zip early, but Bryce Young says not so fast, my friend. Rico Dowdway gashes defense clamps. Panthers rally from the grave 27-24. Dolphins collapse like a beach chair in a hurricane. In H-Town, Texas torches the Ravens. C.J. Stroud dealing, Baltimore reeling. Houston wins big, 44-10, climbing from 0-3 to red hot. Out in the desert, Titans dead, not yet. Down 21-6, Cam Ward leads 2 scores and a wild fumble touchdown. Joey Slough boots the winner as time expires. Tennessee ends the skid 22-21. Music City Miracle vibes. Seattle shootout on the Sound. Baker Mayfield cooking. Amike Ebuka electrifying. 163 yards and a score. Levante David picks one late. Chase McLaughlin drills the walk-off. Bucks 38, Seahawks 35. Tampa won't quit. In Cincy, Jared Goff goes golfing on the Bengals secondary. Jake Browning throws it away 3 times. Lions 37, Bengals 24. Motor City roaring at 4-1. In LA, Chargers bolt early but short circuit late. Washington scores 27 unanswered. Jaden Daniels sharp. Kurski Merritt punches in 2. Commanders 27, Chargers 10. Hail victory. And in Orchard Park, shock in Buffalo. Quarterback Drake May and veteran Stephon Diggs lead the Patriots to an upset of the year. No more undefeateds. New England 23, Buffalo 20. Do you believe? So as week 5 fades into memory, we're left with a simple truth in this league. Every Sunday tells a story, but not every story is what it seems. Joining us now outside the NFL host, Substack Ryder. You've seen him, you've heard him, and you've heard him a lot on this show. We love him. Albert Lainer is with us. Albert, let's start there. A week filled with statement wins and sobering losses. Which story stood out most to you?
Oh, I mean, it's like the NFL has turned into kind of a reality show, but not a bad reality show. More the Survivor type, the race type, Amazing Race Survivor type reality shows with some of these games. So when you talk about what stands out in terms of the stories, it's the week of 2 weird games. So I'll lead off with that. The first weird game is the Titans win over the Cardinals. I thought that Denver's loss to Indianapolis was the dumbest loss I had seen this year. Well, the award now goes, and it may change during the season. The award now goes to the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever, in I don't know how many years of watching the NFL, I don't think I've ever seen an interception that leads to a fumble of an untouched player. So the ground apparently caused this fumble. The ball is, I think, kicked a little, winds up in the end zone, and you have a Titans player that falls on it, and they get a touchdown. And this is the go-ahead touchdown that will eventually enable them to beat the Cardinals, who basically at one point had this game in hand. Now, the Titans at that point were pretty close. They were down by over a touchdown. But with that interception, it was clear that the Cardinals could have put it away. And the only team that got put away in that game is the Cardinals. And I think some of the fans will probably be put away to a mental asylum after watching that game. I don't know what to say about this game other than to say the Cardinals need some help. The Panthers had come back when they played them earlier this season. The Cardinals won. Cardinals have a hard time late in the second half, especially getting into the fourth. They're going to have to find a way to actually secure victory if they win. Cardinals are a weird team. This is the worst loss of the year. The Titans had no business winning this game. And Cam Ward is a work in progress. I said this team is a work in progress. They had no business winning this game, and the Cardinals basically gave it to them. Now, the other weird loss was the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
The Bills fumbled. No, I didn't make that up, folks.
Yeah.
No, that's not fiction.
Right.
They fumbled at least twice in this game.
Yeah.
The Patriots are a mediocre team at best that played a terrific game. If you saw Drake May, who I've seen before, I said this on my show, on my podcast, when I had my podcast Outside the NFL, which was on Spotify and Substack. You can go check it out. 2024 season, but you can check it out. I said Drake May can play. And this is the game that basically confirms what I've been saying for at least a year. Drake May can play if he has the people he can throw the ball to, and he has the offensive line that will keep him going. If you saw Drake May, this guy made passes under duress and managed to get them off for completions. You have to give his receivers credit. They made those receptions, but he was able to get by throwing the ball when he's grabbed, when he's pretty much nearly out of contention, out of operation. To see Drake May in this game is not quite a revelation for me. It's confirmation for other people. I've said this guy can play, and this game proved he can play. The interesting thing with the Patriots now is they're still a mediocre team. They're not a great team. The question is, they're starting to get it together. And what impact this is going to have? How are they going to navigate the season? Because this team could win at least a couple more games. I think they want to obviously win more, but what are they? They're at least 2-2 right now, or more than that.
You're talking about the Patriots?
This is a team, the Patriots, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
This is a team that, could come up. They could come up and they could make some noise in that division.
Patriots are 3-2.
Yeah, because they won that game.
Yeah.
They were 2-2 when they came in,
yeah,
and they won this game. Now they are a 3-win. They're a 3-win team.
Right.
And they get it together. They're starting it together. If they win a few more games, it'll be interesting to see. But I am seeing right now, everything I said about Drake May is coming to fruition.
Yeah.
Everything I said. I said, this guy's talented. He can play. And now people are seeing it. Big game for the Patriots. And this is a bizarre game for the Bills. I don't think they were ready for this. So those are the two weird games. There have been some great games this season.
Yeah.
And there's been some weird games this season. And those were two weird games.
Okay. Let's get into my questions. We'll stick with the Patriots and the Bills on Sunday night. Did we see a Patriots team actually start to turn a corner last night, or was this more about Buffalo stumbling at the end?
It's both, really.
Okay.
The Patriots are starting to turn a corner. Like I said, they're starting to get it together. The question, though, is how will this team respond to other teams on the schedule? The easier teams, I mean, they blew out one team, but this was a real indication of what they could do. If you look at the victory over the Bills, it's just an indication of what they could do. The Bills stumbled somewhat. They were atypical. They weren't ready for this game. That's what I saw. They weren't ready. They thought that this was the 2024 Patriot or 2023 Patriots. And they didn't understand now the team is a little better. I still say a little better, not a lot. A little better than what they expected. I don't think that they were ready for this. They've got to come out and they've got to win again. That's what the Bills have to do. They just got to come out and win another game. They can't afford another loss at this point.
Okay.
If the Patriots continue to win, I'm telling you right now, if they continue to win and the Bills lose a couple games, it's going to get really interesting in that division.
You mentioned the division. The division race is really interesting. Buffalo still in the lead though, 4-1. New England 3-2. But New England's 2-0 in the AFC East. Could the Patriots win the East?
I don't think they're going to win the East.
Okay.
Would have to collapse. I think the Bills would have to collapse. I don't see that at this point. We're at the time when I start making assessments for the season. I don't see the Bills collapsing. Okay. That's why I said the next two games are real important with the Bills now. Yeah. Because if the Patriots win the next couple games and the Bills lose the next couple games, this division could be in flux.
Okay, let's shift gears. Tennessee rallies from 15 down. Is this a sign they're finding their identity?
No, they're still a bad team.
Okay.
The Titans are a horrible team. They got a gift.
Yeah.
It was apparently delivered to them by the Arizona Cardinals. Anyone who looks at this team, they played a pretty good game at times. There's no way this team is turning it around, even if they get a couple more victories. This is a work in progress. It's a work in progress. That offensive line would have to be improved dramatically. They'd have to stop allowing Cam Ward to get sacked. Right. They would have to be able to move down the field more effectively. I don't see it with the Titans. I do think they may win a couple more games. They may not be so bad this season, but no, this is a bad team.
Okay. So do you give Cam Ward credit for, keeping pressure off the field, and keeping his team together?
He's tried.
Okay.
I mean, I looked at him, and Cam Ward's about one of the few people there trying to actually do a good job on that team. I don't see a lot of excellence.
Yeah.
A lot of effort. Again, there was some effort in this game against the Cardinals, but yeah, I mean, I think he's a poor guy. He's stranded in a bad team, and when you're a talented quarterback on a bad team, you got to make do.
Right. Let's go to a pretty good quarterback, Jaden Daniels. He looked like a veteran yesterday. Is he ready to carry the Commanders long term?
If he stays healthy and doesn't get injured. Commanders are still good. They had a tough loss to the Packers, but Commanders are still good. And this is an interesting game because it's the Chargers.
Right.
And the Chargers are a good team, but they have to look out.
Right.
The Chargers have to look out at this point because they lost to the Giants last week.
Right.
Now they got another loss here to the Commanders. This probably would have been more of a logical loss. You would have thought, okay, they'll probably lose. You'll lose to the Commanders if they lose. But when they lost to the Giants, I don't think that was expected. The Chargers got to watch out. But the Commanders right now, so far they're on target. And I think with Mariota as the backup, they seem to have won.
Right.
And that's real important. That's real important in case Daniels gets injured.
Okay. Let's talk about Detroit. Their defense was sensational early, but they gave up late scores. Do the Lions show they can carry a team deep into the playoffs?
Their defense has to stay healthy. Last year, I predicted they would not make it to the Super Bowl because they started getting injuries on the defensive line, especially Aiden Hutchinson, who was on pace to have a record year last year. He probably would have been Defensive Player of the Year. I'm confident in that. He's back. He's making plays. Their defense needs to be healthy. What they did to the Ravens was almost a clinic in 7 sacks on Lamar Jackson. That's one of the most impressive efforts I think I've seen by the Lions, just defensively. Right now, they're firing on all cylinders. Now, they gave up some points in the game, which was interesting. But this is a team that's operating generally on a high level right now. They had the loss to the Packers, I think, in the first game. Then they came back. They had over 50 points against the Chicago Bears. And then they had that, clinic, as I call it, defensive clinic against the Ravens. They are giving up points. So that I do notice that about the Lions. They do give up points. But right now, this team's at a high level. They have to be one of the better teams in the NFC. There's no question.
Okay.
I think they're better than the Eagles, frankly.
Wow. Okay. Lions are better than the Eagles. Okay.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Sean Payton, his 2-point gamble worked. Bo Nix delivered. But is this a real turning point for Denver, or is it just a wake-up call for a sloppy Eagles team?
Well, the latter will depend on the Eagles.
Okay.
Is it a wake-up call for the Eagles? They really have had wake-up calls throughout the season.
Right.
Their offense really got on track last week
Right.
with the win over the Buccaneers. They actually had a good win over the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
And their offense got on track. In the first half, this offense was on track, but they didn't score enough points. You're scoring, 17 against the Broncos 3 in the first half?
Yeah.
All the Broncos need is a touchdown, and you've got 10 points there. You already sliced it down by 7. There's no way. I mean, I saw the Broncos game against, I think it was the Bengals, the previous week.
Yeah.
There's what I call finding the end zone, or I also call it seeing red. The Broncos are able to see red, meaning the red zone.
Right.
They're able to find the end zone. They scored at least 3 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken, in that game against the Bengals. And I saw, okay, this offense is beginning to hum. That's why they were able to come back. I don't know if people are bringing this out. Look at that Bengals game and look at how good that offense was for the Broncos. You look at the Broncos in this game with the Eagles, their offense came online in the second half. They scored 2 touchdowns, and they were able to get points. They can find the end zone. They're seeing red right now. Their offense is beginning to work. And that's why they were able to come up against the Eagles and eke out that victory. So right now with the Broncos, and they normally under this, with Sean Payton,
yes.
under this regime, they normally kind of start late. They
right.
don't start out with a win in the first game or maybe doing great in the second game. They get to third and fourth, and Bo Nix sort of warms up.
Right.
But like I said, I mentioned I mentioned the Cardinals as an object lesson.
Yeah.
But I mentioned the Chargers.
Right.
Chargers got to watch out.
Yeah.
Broncos are seeing red.
Right.
They're finding the end zone, and this team's going to come up just like they did last year. I'm seeing the Broncos are going to, unless there's a collapse, if the offense somehow collapses for the Broncos, then they'll have problems. But right now, this Broncos offense is humming. And they may be another playoff team at this point. I hate to make those statements, but they may be. They're at least what I call contender for the playoffs.
Okay. They're in the hunt.
Get to the playoffs, they're a contender for the playoffs.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at the Broncos, I'm going, Chargers better watch out.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about another quarterback. Bryce Young rallies Carolina from 17 down. Is he having the best 2 weeks of his career?
Bryce Young is a good quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone wants to admit it. He's a good quarterback. The guy's got talent.
Yeah.
Guy, I've seen him in games where he can put together a few plays and is good, top-notch quarterbacks. When this guy's hot, he's as good as any of the top-notch quarterbacks, the top-tier quarterbacks in the NFL. It's really weird with the Panthers. They're an odd team because they've got some players that can get the job done. But this, I don't know. I mean, this was the sort of the, cellar-dweller type contest with them in Miami. And even Miami played well. Yeah, they lost some games, but they played well. I'll have to say that. They played terribly in the first game, but they played well. The Panthers are weird. They might string together some wins. I don't really see them doing much this year because they're just inconsistent.
Right.
Young, when he can put together plays, when this guy is good, he's as good as all the top tier guys in the NFL. Nobody wants to admit that. But this guy is as good as all the top tier guys when he's hot. When he's good, he's as good as all the guys on top.
Okay. Final thoughts.
Well, Buccaneers. I said Buccaneers. To be brutally honest, that Buccaneers Seattle game was one of the best. I've said this every week since I've been here.
Yep.
NFL this season has at least one great game per week. And so this season has been quite good.
Yeah.
Because that's the real metric that I use. Good games. It's the state of play. Are the games good, exciting, effective, whatever? That Buccaneers Seahawks game was like a college playoff game. Fourth and down to the wire.
Right.
Fantastic. And after the Dallas Green Bay game last week and some of the other games in week 1, the Bills Ravens game, you have to look at this NFL season and you go, there are some games that people will be watching probably years to come.
Yeah.
Right now, they'll be watching. And the Buccaneers, if Baker Mayfield is a team that obviously could be a contender for the playoffs, but could be a contender beyond. This guy is winning games. He's winning games, and he's dangerous. Don't get behind. Don't get behind on the Buccaneers.
Okay. Don't get behind on the Buccaneers. I like it. He's Albert Lainer. You can see him on Substack, Spotify, TikTok, you name it, he's on it. And he will be back here next Monday for Week 6 of the NFL. Can you believe Week 6 already? The season's flying by.
Hey, another year, another NFL season.
There you go. Okay. We look forward to talking to you next week.
All right. See you next week.
Yep. And we switch gears from college football to we switch gears from the National Football League to college football. The new AP Top 25 is out, and for the most part, status quo. Nobody's fallen off a cliff here. Nobody's running away with it yet, but we are starting to see who's real and who's been living off reputation. Let's start at the top. Ohio State Buckeyes 5-0, rolling over Minnesota 42-3. You want to talk dominant? They've allowed 25 points total all season. That's not just good. That's historic Big Ten football. That's 1985 Michigan-type defense. They look like a playoff lock if they keep playing like this. And they got Illinois this week, and they'll be a heavy favorite again. Now, Miami. Listen, I've been skeptical, okay? I've seen Canes hype before, and it never lasts. But they go out, beat Florida State. That's 3 straight wins over ranked teams. You haven't seen that in Miami since the early 2000s. I'm not, crowning them yet, but I'm impressed. They're 5-0. They're physical, and they're making plays in crunch time. They got Louisville coming up. That's another prove-it game. Oregon, Ole Miss, both idle. Both unbeaten, both sitting pretty. But here's the thing. You can't move up sitting on your couch. Miami jumped Oregon because they played somebody, and that's how it worked. We saw Penn State do it and Oregon do it. And that's how this committee at the AP poll does it. And I look for the real committee, the College Football Playoff Committee, to do it as well. So how about Texas A&M? Jimbo Fisher's gone, but the Aggies are back, 5-0 for the first time since 2016. That defense looks legit. They handled Mississippi State easy, and now they get Florida. Circle that one. Now we get the upsets, right? Penn State, Texas. What are we doing here? Penn State gets hammered and humiliated by UCLA. Unranked double-digit underdogs. You can't call yourself elite if you're dropping those games. And Texas, they lose to Florida, who's been all over the map. You're the number 9 team in the country. You can't lose that game. Sark's got to answer for that. So who benefits? Well, you look at teams like Alabama, Texas Tech, Georgia, all moving up. Alabama's 4-1, taking care of Vandy. Nothing flashy, but they're building momentum. Texas Tech, sneaky good, folks. They've won 5 straight by 20 or more points. That hasn't happened since 1954. You can't ignore that. And then Georgia, they're not the monster they were the last couple of years, but they're coming along. Beat Kentucky again. They've owned that matchup down the board. You got some nice stories. Georgia Tech, Missouri, BYU, Virginia teams winning close games. Building resumes. Memphis sneaks in at 23. 6-0, longest win streak in the country. 10 straight. I don't care who you're playing. That's impressive. And a couple teams dropping. Vanderbilt and Iowa State. Reality hitting them in the face. So here's the bottom line. Right now, Ohio State and Miami are your clear front runners. Oregon, Ole Miss right behind them. But we're heading into mid-October, and this is when it gets real. The pretenders get exposed. The contenders start to separate. And I'll tell you what, if Miami beats Louisville next week, they're going to make a strong case for that number 1 spot. Ohio State's the standard, but Miami's knocking on the door. So don't tell me these games don't matter. Every week now is a playoff game. But I still can't get over Penn State and Texas. They're gone. They're out. Done. Both teams were top 10 last week. Both teams now unranked. Penn State's collapse is historic. They were number 2 in the preseason, dropped to number 7 after the losing to Oregon. Then they go out and lose to winless UCLA. You're a 24.5-point favorite, and you lose to a team that just fired its coach. You deserve to drop. This is one of the biggest plunges in AP poll history. You got to go back to 1959 Oklahoma to find a fall like that. Number 2, out of the poll in 1 week. Absolutely brutal. Texas, same deal. Preseason number 1 already took a loss at Ohio State. Now go to the swamp and get beat by Florida. They're unranked for the first time since 2022. You can't lose back-to-back marquee games and expect to stay in the poll. You want to talk about perspective? The last time 2 top 10 teams fell out of the rankings in the same week, 1986. That's almost 40 years ago. That's how rare this is. So, with a new AP poll comes a new mock college football playoff bracket. And we've got some shakeups, some surprises, and a couple teams that should be downright embarrassed. Let's start with the big picture. Your top 4 seeds are locked in, but we got to shuffle. Number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Miami. Number 3, Oregon. Number 4, Ole Miss, right? Miami jumps Oregon after a road win at Florida State. Big time statement. Oregon falls because they didn't play. And then Ole Miss holds serve at 5-0. Those 4, they get the first round byes. They've earned it. That's your current CFP elite tier. Now let's talk movement. Georgia's back. Big win over Kentucky 35-14. Moves from number 12 to number 10 and re-enters the bracket after a 1-week absence. LSU also sneaks back in. Idle, but jumps to number 11. They've been up and down, but the poll says they're in. Memphis, right? We talked about Memphis last week. I had South Florida in last week. Memphis jumps them, and now they're in 6-0, 10-game win streak, cracks the poll at number 23, and by rule, they get that group of 5 auto bid. They edge South Florida, who's number 24. So that's why I put them in this week. Penn State is out, right? Free fall from number 7 to out of the poll after losing to winless UCLA. Texas, preseason number 1, now unranked after losing to Florida. South Florida, sorry Bulls, Memphis took your seat. So here's how the number 12 team field shakes out. First round matchups, December 19th and 20th. Number 9, Texas Tech at number 8, Alabama. Winner would advance to face number 1, Ohio State. That's a throwback matchup. Tech's offense versus Bama's pedigree. I like Alabama at home, but Texas Tech's playing with some swagger. Number 12, Memphis at number 5, Texas A&M. Winner would face number 4, Ole Miss. Look, great story for Memphis, but This is a tall order, right? Kyle Field in December. That's a hornet's nest. Number 10, Georgia. At number 7, Indiana. Winner would go to Miami. Or winner goes to number 2, Miami. This is where Georgia's experience pays off. Indiana's a fun story. But Georgia's battle tested. Number 11, LSU. At number 6, Oklahoma. Winner meets number 3, Oregon. Now, that's a heavyweight matchup. LSU's got the talent, but Norman's a tough trip. So, the byes, number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Miami. 3, Oregon. 4, Ole Miss. Quarterfinals, New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Semifinals, January 8th and 9th, Fiesta in Peach Bowl. The championship is set for January 19th, Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Now, here's what's fascinating. The SEC, 6 teams in the bracket. Ole Miss, A&M, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Missouri just on the bubble. That's conference dominant. Big Ten has 3. The ACC has 1 with Miami. The Big 12 has 1 in Texas Tech. The American Athletic Conference has 1 in Memphis. This tells you where the power balance is right now. SEC depth, Big Ten strength at the top. Everyone else trying to keep pace. And let's not forget the near misses. Tennessee, number 12 in the AP, just outside because Memphis took the group of 5 spot. Brutal break there. Georgia Tech and Missouri knocking on the door. So the playoff race is wide open. Ohio State's in control, but Miami's making noise. Oregon's waiting in the weeds. And Ole Miss, sneaky good. But the story this week, Penn State's collapse, Miami's rise to the top, and Memphis making history. So if the playoffs started today, your title favorites, I would probably still have to go with Ohio State. But watch out for Oregon. Watch out for Miami. Watch out for Ole Miss. They've got offenses that will scare anybody. From football to basketball, and we got a little bit of NBA, WNBA business to get into tonight. Big story out of the league offices. Commissioner Adam Silver speaking out on what has become a pretty turbulent moment for the WNBA. Right in the middle of their finals, mind you, between Las Vegas and Phoenix. Now, Adam Silver says a new collective bargaining agreement, that's that CBA we keep talking about, with the WNBA players will get done. He said, quote, lots of work left to be done, but we'll get a deal done with the players. But here's the thing. It's not just about dollars and cents right now. This is about trust, communication, and leadership. And boy, did those words take a hit this week. Minnesota star Nafisha Collier, runner-up for league MVP, came out swinging, saying the league has the worst leadership in the world. We talked about that. Caitlin Clark was told to be grateful, apparently, and all of that stuff. Okay, we talked about Friday. Kathy Engelbert, WNBA commissioner, held a press conference. She said she never said that. That's not true. And long story short, she said she would have to do better. Okay. So strong statements all around, statements that you don't hear that often, especially during active negotiations, and it comes right as the finals tip off, the worst possible time for the league to have this kind of PR storm. Now, Kathy Engelbert, WNBA commissioner, has presided over historic growth, record TV ratings, bigger crowds, new sponsors, stars like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Paige Beckers, and others, moving the needle in a way we haven't seen before. But with growth comes friction. And what the players are saying is, hey, if this league is booming, we want a bigger voice, and we want to feel valued, not just paid better, but heard better. Adam Silver, to his credit, acknowledged that. He said this isn't just an economic issue, it's a relationship issue. And listen, he's right. When you've got your star players feeling disconnected from the commissioner's office, that's not a contract problem. That's a trust problem. Okay? Derek Fisher. Remember him? The old Lakers guard, NBA Players Association president during the 2011 NBA lockout. He chimed in too. He said it's rare to see a player speak as bluntly as Collier did. But he understands it. Negotiations can get heated, miscommunication happens, and until there's a deal, it's adversarial. And here's the bigger picture. Okay, the WNBA is at a crossroads. They've got momentum like never before, right? Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Sabrina, Asia Wilson, Brittany Griner, others. These women are drawing fans, Paige Beckers, sponsors, eyeballs. The league's got juice. The question now is, can leadership harness it? Or will they fumble it? Engelbert's done some great things, but perception matters. The players clearly feel there's a disconnect. And that's dangerous when you're trying to lock in a new CBA and keep the rocket ship climbing. So here's my take. This gets done. It might not hit the October 31st deadline, but it gets done. The league knows how crucial this is. You can't have a work stoppage with the kind of momentum they've built. But if they don't fix the communication issues, the tension is going to keep bubbling up. The finals deserve the spotlight, not the boardroom drama. So let's hope after this series wraps, cooler heads prevail. Collier and Engelbert and Clark and others are all just fine and dandy. And they find a deal that respects the growth and the players who made it happen. Meanwhile, like we said, this is taking place in the midst of the WNBA Finals. Last night, Aces took on the Mercury. Jackie Young, 32 points, 12 of 20 on the day, 5 for 5 from the line. Aces win at 91-78. Vegas now leads the series 2-0. The series shifts to Phoenix on Wednesday, October 8th in a best of 7. From women's basketball to men's basketball, and let's talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers. Last season, they stormed through the regular season like a freight train. A 64-18 record, first in the East. That's right, 64 wins, and they scored the 8th most points in NBA history, 9,999. That's not just good, that's elite. Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, 3 All-Stars. Mobley took home Kia Defensive Player of the Year. Kenny Atkinson, Coach of the Year. This team had it all in the regular season. Now, here's the rub. They swept Miami in the first round of the playoffs, looked poised, and then they got handled by Indiana in the Eastern Conference semis 4-1. That's 2 straight seasons they hit this wall. Can't blame the talent. It's more about timing, health, and maybe a little more playoff experience. Off-season moves, Cleveland made some noise. They brought back Sam Merrill, reunited with Larry Nance Jr., signed Thomas Bryant, and made the big splash trading Isaac Orko for Lonzo Ball. That Lonzo addition is a huge backcourt addition that's already stacked but also injury prone. Garland's coming off toe surgery. Max Strutz's foot surgery. So early season depth is going to matter. They lost Ty Jerome, their 6th Man of the Year candidate, but the core's intact. Mitchell, Garland, Mobley, Allen, plus DeAndre Hunter ready for his first full season. So this roster is balanced, versatile, and when healthy, a real championship contender. My X factor is Evan Mobley. The guy's a force, rim protection, switching on guard, scoring in transition, and his three-point shot is legit. 37% last season. He's driving more, shooting more, assisting more. Career highs all around. If Mobley takes the next step offensively, Cleveland's gone from contender to threat. Big question. Can they stay healthy? That's the recurring theme. Injuries have derailed their last 2 playoff runs. Garland and Strutz are on the mend. Allen, Mitchell, Mobley, Hunter all need to be available at the right time. If they do stay healthy, we're talking about a team that can make noise in the postseason. If not, well, we know how the story ends. Preseason opener is tomorrow against the Bulls. 7 Eastern. We will have pre-game show at 6:30 for that game right here on this network. The Hardwood Report. More about that a little later. But October 7th against the Bulls is the preseason opener for the Cavaliers. Regular season opener, October 22nd against the Knicks. Home opener, October 26th against the Bucks. Christmas Day, December 25th at the Knicks. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, January 19th against the Thunder. And then rivalry week, January 21st at the Hornets. So that's where the Cavs stand, loaded with talent, solid additions, a potential superstar in Mobley emerging. But can they stay healthy long enough to finally take the next step in the playoffs? That's the million-dollar question. From the East to the West, the Utah Jazz last season, 17-65, 15th in the West. They missed the playoffs, no surprise there. And look, Utah used to be a West contender. Mitchell Gobert, 6 straight winning seasons there, 3 with 50 or more wins, but that era's over. 3 straight seasons now without a playoff appearance, and it's clear the Jazz are in a rebuild process. Most of the veterans from the post-Mitchell Gobert era are gone. Clarkson, Collins, Sexton are all out. They brought in a few vets, Kyle Anderson, Jusuf Nurkic, and even Kevin Love via trade to stabilize things and mentor the young guys and the young core. And they loaded, they're loaded. Lauri Markkanen continues to blossom. Walker Kessler, Taylor Hendricks, Keynote George, Bryce Sensaberg, Cody Williams, Isaiah Collier, and don't forget Kyle Filipowski, the NBA 2K26 Summer League MVP. And he's my X factor, Kyle Filipowski, 6'11" forward out of Duke, Summer League MVP with 29 points, nearly 8 boards per game, shooting over 56%. Last season in the NBA, he averaged 9.6 points, 6 rebounds, in 21 minutes per game. If he can carry that momentum, he's going to be a cornerstone for this young Jazz team. So the big question, what's the plan with Lauri Markkanen? He signed a 5-year deal last year, 28 years old, entering his prime. Fantastic player, former All-Star, FIBA Eurobasket hero for Finland. But with Utah rebuilding, does he stay long-term or become a trade asset for a team ready to win now? So that's the chess game for this key front office. Key dates to mark on your calendar. Preseason opener, October 8th at the Rockets. Regular season / home opener, October 22nd against the Clippers. Emeritus NBA Cup West Group A. Play October 31st at the Suns, November 7th at the Timberwolves, November 21st at the Thunder, November 28th against the Kings. So Utah's not chasing wins this year. It's all about growth, development, and seeing who from this young core emerges as the building block for the next contender. So keep an eye on Filipowski. He could be the guy who changes the conversation fast. So basketball fans, don't miss the premiere of the Hardwood Report tomorrow, October 7th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 3:30 Pacific, ahead of Bulls Cavaliers. Get expert analysis, player stories, and all the insights you need before tip-off. Start your season the right way, only on MixLR under Ryder Bullock Productions. Here is what's trending in the world of sports. In Philadelphia, Will Smith drove in 2 runs in support of Blake Snell, who tossed 6 masterful innings of one-hit baseball, and the Los Angeles Dodgers outlasted the Philadelphia Phillies 4-3 in Game 2 of the NLDS tonight at Citizens Bank Park. With the win, the Dodgers improved to a perfect 4-0 in the postseason and now own a 2-0 series lead headed into Wednesday's Game 3 in Los Angeles. The Phillies, eliminated in the same round last season to New York Mets, have now lost 5 of the past 6 postseason games. Meanwhile, in baseball, Cubs taking on the Brewers in Milwaukee. Bottom of the 8th, Brewers lead at 7-3. Monday Night Football, Jaguars upset the Chiefs 31-28. Trevor Lawrence's wild run lifts the Jaguars to a 31-28 win over Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Trevor Lawrence, 18 for 25, 210 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Patrick Mahomes, 29 of 41, 318 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Former NFL quarterback and current Fox Sports analyst Mark Sanchez is now facing a felony battery charge in addition to misdemeanor charges stemming from a parking dispute that turned violent in Indianapolis over the weekend. Prosecutor Ryan Mears announced the felony battery involves serious bodily injury charge, which carries a potential 1 to 6 year prison sentence after investigators determined the 69-year-old victim suffered severe injuries. According to police, the 38-year-old Sanchez, allegedly smelling of alcohol, confronted the truck driver outside a downtown hotel early Saturday. The argument escalated into a physical altercation, during which Sanchez was pepper sprayed and stabbed multiple times, while the victim sustained a facial cut. Authorities said surveillance footage captured the fight, and additional charges remain possible. The prosecutor emphasized that the incident was a needless conflict over parking and highlighted Indiana's strong self-defense laws, leaving open the question of whether the truck driver will face charges. Sanchez remains hospitalized in stable condition, and his initial court hearing has been rescheduled to November 4th. His attorney has declined to comment. Sanchez has been in town for Fox's coverage of the Colts-Raiders game. Police Chief Chris Bailey said the city will hold anyone accountable for acts of violence, regardless of their status. Sanchez, who retired from the NFL in 2019 after a 10-year career, including 4 seasons with the New York Jets, has worked as a TV analyst since 2021. A wrongful death lawsuit against the Los Angeles Angels over the 2019 drug overdose death of pitcher Tyler Skaggs began today in Orange County, California. The suit, filed by Skaggs' widow and parents, alleges the Angels were responsible because their communications director, Eric Kay, supplied Skaggs and at least 6 other players with drugs, despite having a history of substance abuse. Kay was convicted in 2022 of providing Skaggs with oxycodone pills laced with fentanyl and sentenced to 22 years in federal prison. Skaggs, 27, died in a Dallas hotel room from a combination of alcohol, fentanyl, and oxycodone, choking on his vomit. The lawsuit claims the team knew or should have known about Kay's drug distribution and seeks hundreds of millions of dollars in damages for lost earnings and family loss. The Angels counter that Skaggs was off-duty and misused painkillers by snorting them while drinking alcohol, and that the team could not have prevented the overdose. The trial comes amid broader concerns over opioid and fentanyl abuse among athletes, prompting MLB to implement opioid testing and treatment programs after Skaggs' death. Testimony is expected from current and former Angel players, including Mike Trout and Wade Miley, and the trial could last weeks. Skaggs had pitched for the Angels since 2016 after recovering from Tommy John surgery and previously played for the Arizona Diamondbacks. The NHL has suspended Tampa Bay Lightning forward Scott Suburban for 4 games and defensive man J.J. Mosser for 2 games following the Lightning's penalty-filled preseason finale against the Florida Panthers on Saturday. The team was also fined $100,000 and coach John Cooper was fined $25,000. The game was chaotic with 65 penalties, 13 game misconducts, and 312 penalty minutes. Suburban, who played only 19 seconds, received a match penalty for hitting Florida defenseman Aaron Ekblad, setting the tone for the matchup. Mosser was suspended for bordering Panthers forward Jesper Boquist The fine result in Suburban forfeiting $16,145.84 and Mosser $35,156.26. It is unclear when Suburban will serve his suspension as he was sent back to Tampa Bay's AHL affiliate in Syracuse. The game's penalties created confusion on the ice, including a disallowed goal because Nico Mikola, credited with an assist, had already been ejected. Lightning coach John Cooper noted the bench situation got so bad we had more coaches than players on the bench at one point. Despite the altercation, Ekblad is expected to play in the Lightning season opener against the Chicago Blackhawks tomorrow. This followed another preseason game the day before featuring 49 penalties and 186 penalty minutes. That's what's trending in sports. Here's tonight's final thought. When LeBron James said, "I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat" on July 8, 2010, it sent shockwaves through the sports world. That television special, marketed as The Decision, became an inflection point in James's career. He left the Cleveland Cavaliers to form a big three with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami. And in doing so, he changed the way athletes, leagues, and fans viewed player movement. Now, 15 years later, LeBron James appears poised to make another announcement. Today, he shared a brief 9-second video on social media showing him walking toward an empty chair across from an unidentified figure. Even the shirt he's wearing recalls that fateful day in 2010. The caption, "The decision of all decisions, October 7th, 12 p.m. EST. Hashtag the second decision." Naturally, speculation is rampant. Could it be retirement or something else entirely? So I thought we'd take some time to examine the possibilities. Imminent retirement. This is the announcement everyone wants. LeBron has been remarkably discreet about when he might hang up his sneakers, though he has hinted that it won't coincide with his youngest son, Bryce, entering the league. And he's dropped subtle cues that next season might be his last. A retirement announcement marketed as the second decision would certainly be poetic, a full circle moment. But would it come this way on social media at midday? With no fanfare? Probably not. The first decision was an event. His return to Cleveland in 2014 came with a Sports Illustrated cover declaring, "I'm coming home." Even his 2018 move to the Lakers mirrored Michael Jordan's measured press release for his return. A single social post seems almost anticlimactic for the news of this magnitude. A clever advertisement. Perhaps this is less about basketball and more about branding. October 7th falls just 2 weeks before the regular season, coincides with Amazon Prime Day, and even happens to be National Taco Day. A trifecta of marketing opportunities. Could this be an NBA ad celebrating James's 23rd season in a league marking its 80th year? Maybe. Or another Amazon campaign building on past teasers that teased his retirement, only to promote products. And yes, maybe, just maybe, it's a nod to Taco Tuesday, given LeBron's well-documented love of tacos. All plausible, all slightly anticlimactic for fans hungry for news. A new partnership. It could be that this elaborate build-up leads to a commercial opportunity, an announcement, a new brand deal, a beverage, a car, a tech company, in which case the world gets another reminder of how LeBron's brand extends far beyond the court. Clever marketing? Absolutely. But for the millions of fans wondering if this is truly the end of an era, perhaps a letdown. LeBron James's career has been punctuated by decisions that captivated not just basketball fans, but the culture at large. And tomorrow, whether it's a retirement, a campaign, or a partnership, the world will watch closely because LeBron, it's LeBron. And with LeBron, even the tease is significant. That'll do it for me on this Monday night. Till next time, Ryder Bullock reporting. Thank you for your time, and thank you for letting me share mine.